All right, I forgot to clear my throat before we came on the air.
All right.
All right, I'm no longer going to say the day and the time because I realize I say it's Tuesday at 7 every time we do this show, and then it gets rebroadcast tomorrow, and it confuses people at noon on Wednesday, and they all go home at lunch.
Tuesday at 7.
Tuesday at 7?
Yes.
God, I got to go to class.
It is either Tuesday at 7 or Wednesday at noon or Friday whenever we put this episode out on the podcast. Thanks for listening. It's time for the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith, sitting in as my guest co-host for the week. And I do say week because it's not just this episode.
That's true.
Although this is the only one we record.
But you're going to hear me 3 times this week.
Even more than that if you get obsessed. Because
That's true.
You can just download it and listen to Mike Shea's soothing voice over and over again.
Like
Mike Shea is
caramel.
in with us.
Hey, Don.
The pirate LARPer.
The pirate LARPer.
I have some questions about that later.
Everyone does.
First guest is in Mr. Brandon Barry.
Hey, how you doing, Don? I've been talking to you for the last 2 hours, so
but we still need to
we're on the radio.
We need to reacquaint ourselves because this is
Don't
radio.
let him peek behind the curtain.
Right. Yeah, that's not the curtain. Yeah, so, Brandon, what's been happening with you? I know I haven't been called to reprise my role as homeless Jerry. And,
unfortunately,
I've been saddened all summer thinking about that.
Well, me too. I've missed doing TBTV a little bit. I mean,
it was a lot of fun.
It was
as much as a fella can miss that kind of thing.
Yeah, for what it was. I mean, I do miss like writing it and kind of going out on Saturday mornings when you're half not awake,
right.
Whatever. And I mean, but I think doing all these movies that both of us are involved with
William
stuff, and I'm actually editing a movie with Craig, the cinematographer from Black Mamba.
Oh, you're editing another one? Is that the?
That's Immaculate Possession.
Okay, that's the Jason Sherlow.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a very sweet movie. So there is. I filled that void with something.
Okay, well, you still have to do. You fill the TBTV void.
Yeah, we'll have to do something together.
It just can't be the same though.
No, it's not. I mean, I don't have any creative freedom really when it comes to other people's movies.
Right. Well, yeah.
So I have been getting back into writing.
Good.
It's taken me like 5 months to get back into it, and I got to tell you about it. I'm sorry, I'm taking over this entire thing.
Well, you're the guest.
I'm just a guest
he's
host.
a guest co-host.
Okay, well,
you
can just come in whenever.
Not even guest host,
whenever.
guest co-host.
Guest co-host. Yeah.
Oh, is this what is this thing over here?
So just if Don goes to the bathroom, I do the weather. I'm Mike Shea. That's a microphone.
Is this legal? Are you allowed to be broadcasting?
Sure. Yeah.
What is this, Facebook Live?
I'm living again. Yeah.
How do you not warn me about these things?
I love the reaction that you give me when you find out.
Talked about.
I always wait until we're on the air.
Okay.
I always wait until we're on the air.
I appreciate that. Scotty Mays.
I can't make any promises.
He does. As soon as he comes in the studio, he's waving his Facebook Live around.
I wait until the mics are on, and I know that it's at least, for lack of a better word, safe.
Right. You know that anything I say about somebody now, I mean.
Exactly. Yeah, and so do all. Plus, you're assuming people are actually watching this and giving a damn.
That's true.
So
can I take over this for a second?
Yeah.
Oh God, he's taking my phone.
Yep. Brandon Barry has. There you go. Yeah.
There's Don Smith. All right.
Why
is he not in it?
It's his show. Around. He doesn't have any. It doesn't have any viewers yet.
Yeah. Nobody's.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday.
But no, Brandon.
Anyway,
you're the guest. Don't let us interrupt.
All right. Okay. All right. So I started working on this thing about a year ago. It started as a play about Jesus coming back. Now, I'm not a religious man. Jesus coming back in the future when all of his miracles are obsolete. I thought it was a great idea, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I finally picked it up a week ago, like after this big, huge, hiatus, and I found out that what I want to do with it. It's Jesus coming back in the future, like Logan's Run type future, like what the 70s movies thought the year 2000 would be.
Right.
And he has to find his purpose, and his purpose is going back to his roots as a carpenter, making these birdhouses for these homeless birds.
Oh man!
Well, yeah, that's.
I'd
watch that.
I think the birds appreciate him more.
Yeah. So it's no longer a play. This is gonna. I don't know how I would have a bird on stage like that. It'd have to be a big costume person, I guess. But I also don't know how I'd do it in a movie. So.
Which would be nice and fun and campy.
We'll cast Don to be one of the birds, and he just comes walking out on stage.
Are you
flapping?
kidding? Look at the beard. Yeah. I'm going to be cast as a bird in a Jesus movie. Come on, man.
Of course you are. No, we're gonna go beardless Jesus in this one.
Yeah,
We're gonna go
okay,
beardless
okay.
Jesus.
So that's what I've been up to. I also I've a couple 5 months ago. I became single after 3 years of being in a relationship. So I
Congratulations.
Hey, I know, right? And so I downloaded these dating apps. Right? And I know you say woof. Do you
it's
use
another screenplay.
I swore off the dating apps and online dating months ago. It was a waste of time.
But months ago.
Yeah.
Now how long? Like a couple months? So it was pretty recent then.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I used them for the better part of a year, but I stopped using them probably about March.
Why? I want to know.
Because after a year of messaging and right swiping and all that other crap, the zero responses that I got, except for the one girl with a kid who was just looking for someone to take her to lunch one day and drive her to get her rent paid was enough. I was like, you know what, I'm done.
That was your date?
That was my date. We went to dinner and she said, "Hey, I know this is rude, but could we run a quick errand while we're out?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, well sure, why not? I haven't been on a date in God knows how long." So, so we ended up going to the office so she can drop off her rent check. And I was like, "Oh, I see what this is."
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
But yeah, online dating is just it's such a scam to me.
Well, how's regular dating?
What regular? Why do you think I was? You think I was doing online dating because I could get a date in real life on my own?
All right. Well, so how long have you been single? I know I'm interrogating.
No, you're good. We're just stalling time because Don's on the phone.
Yeah.
No, I've been single since 20 late. It was early 2016. Yeah, we broke up. Since 2016. So it's been that long. Yeah, 2 years.
Well, that's a.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and I'm 29, and I'm just at a point where it's just like, you know what, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
I have other things I'm worried about, and the priority of which is getting out of my mother's basement. I've just devolved so hard. I started off so well after college. Yeah. I was on my own and working full time, and now since then it's you know what, I skipped a step. You're supposed to live in your mom's basement for a while, Mike. You can't just go straight to being independent. Come on.
Yeah. So
you guys did a fantastic job while I had to step away.
You are so welcome.
So this is what I did. A couple months ago, I downloaded Tinder and a couple other ones, right? And at first, I didn't take it seriously. I still don't, really.
Right.
And so what I did, I have this picture on my phone.
You haven't swiped right on Tinder just yet?
No, I have. Multiple times.
Oh, well, I mean on the app itself.
Nothing worked out. So what happened? I have this. I'm not a photogenic guy, as you probably have figured out, and I don't have a lot of good pictures that don't look like I'm trying to take a good picture. And they just, you know what I mean? It doesn't work out.
You used a still from TBTV, didn't you?
I used a couple. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun.
No,
no. I didn't
So-
know for sure that's where you were going. I just thought that would be funny.
No, you're good. I don't know if you remember from the first episode, Scooter, Wingbat, and Toad. We had a bunch of me and Tyler we put ourselves in other album covers. So I have this picture of myself. Do you know the Nirvana album Nevermind? With
God.
the baby.
Oh God.
Oh, that's awesome.
My face is superimposed over this baby, with his willy hanging out, right? And I didn't take it seriously at first, so I had that up there for 4 hours. So when you first download Tinder, you're just swiping all night. I was doing it for 4 hours. It was horrible. Okay, maybe we're different.
No, I did. It's just...
Okay. Well, I did this. Oh, my dad's calling me. Sorry.
Everybody's phone's ringing today.
Yeah. Can you guys stall while I take this call? No.
Well, mine was from the GM of the club, so I kind of had to
okay.
see what
That's
yeah.
understandable.
That's fine, I guess.
So, 4 hours later, after all this swiping, I matched with nobody, obviously, because I'm a baby with his willy hanging out.
How can that not help?
And I got reported, and I had to. I know. I had to start all over, and then
were you reported for like the
baby
public nudity,
Willie.
or were you reported for like stealing the album cover? Was it
No,
a copyright thing?
See, here's the thing about Tinder: you can be reported for anything, and you can be taken off, and they don't even really review it. Yesterday I was reported. I can't log into my thing. I don't even care anymore because those apps they consume my life. Okay, I just swipe all day, and it's just horrible. And so, I got reported. And I looked it up, like why can't I log in? And it's got this code, like of why,
right, that little error code. Yeah,
and it said sometimes you can be reported and taken off Tinder just because you're ugly.
Wow,
Isn't that horrible?
that's awesome.
it's not happened to me yet, so there's hope.
Yeah.
You've not. Well, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, there's hope.
But you
So you're saying you're not as ugly as Brandon?
That's
Is that
exactly what I'm saying. I
That's
now
good of you
have
to say, Mike.
confirmation
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
See, I'm just saying. I mean,
taking over Facebook Live.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah, but that's what's been going on with me. I tried not to. I guess this is a godsend now that I don't have to do that all day long.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was an intervention
Yeah, that's
to
right.
keep you from your
right.
Tinder addiction.
That's right. Addiction. Addiction.
If I can't stop swiping,
Horrible.
thank God I'm too ugly for Tinder. Now I don't have to worry about getting back on there anymore.
Yep.
Oh man.
I was trying to make him feel better by saying that people cared enough about him that they wanted him to stop with the app. So I didn't want to focus on the ugly part.
Oh, I did.
Yeah. I was trying to make him feel better, Mike.
I don't care.
It's okay. He didn't hear that part.
All right. Okay. Oh, did you have something? You took an inhale. I felt like you were gonna say.
Well, I had to clear my
segue.
throat again.
Oh, okay.
You go ahead.
You had to
No.
breathe.
Okay, I wanna
you have to take in oxygen. So
Sorry, I'm just so wired. I guess it's the coffee. I want to know about this pirate life for me.
God.
The pirate's life for me. Okay, so. Okay, why? What do you do?
Why?
No. Okay,
Okay.
what do
so
you do?
Do you like camping?
Sure.
Okay. So imagine you're camping. You just dress like a pirate, and you live like it was that era for a week.
On a ship, or
we go out to Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. There's this huge campground that last year when I went, it was about, I think it was like 1,100 campers were there. So 1,100 people across God knows how many hundreds of camps that were there. And now I will say that a couple people in my group actually took like flatbed trailers and built pirate ship shaped campers on top of them, like with beds inside.
I've
they could live
actually
in.
seen one of those. There's actually some back road that I used to take to get to one of the places I used to work. There's actually one sitting on the corner of the road where they have it decorated like a pirate ship.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I know out there by Foy's out there in Fairborn when they do the Halloween one of the houses out there, they have a big one they decorate and they have like the haunted pirate lawn decoration going. But yeah, no, it's the most fun you can have camping, I think.
really?
We reserve this huge plot of square footage. That's our campsite. We have about 30 people with their tent set up in our camp. We have, those like big white awnings you can get for like outdoor weddings and family reunions and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We have one of those set up, and we have like grills and stuff under there so that we can cook out while we're there. We're not that far from like an actual town, like a Walmart or something. We need supplies. There's a small little general store there in the camp. You can go buy like a pack of bottled water, but it's ridiculously expensive. Sure. But
so it's kind of like a music festival, but no music and you're pirates.
Well, believe it or not, there actually is there's actually there's a section of the of the campground that's like a lot of shops.
Yeah,
where you can go buy like clothing people have made, or
so it's like a Renaissance festival you stay the night at.
Yeah, it's a rent fair you stay at for a week or two.
That's cool.
And then there's events at night. Like there are actually people who are musicians who have like the old pirate era musical instruments, and they'll play music. And there's just so much drinking. Oh, there's so much booze.
Yeah,
that's really what it's all about.
It's really what it's all about. Is just that constant state of not sober that you're in for the period of a week.
Okay,
but
just, your goal is to get scurvy and get as drunk as possible.
More or less, yeah. And I mean, yeah, and then,
by scurvy you mean
lack of fruits,
sure,
and
but yeah, no,
other ailments.
There's actually a guy. He's a set designer out in Hollywood, and he goes to this thing every year.
Yeah,
and he actually the plot of land he has reserved. He built like a multi-level. It looks like an old school, almost like a mansion. Like it's got multiple floors and stuff, and that's where him and his camp all stay. And it's just like I said, he's a set designer out in Hollywood, so it's expertly made, and there's like murals and stuff. You walk by and you're like, is that somebody's actual house here on the campground? And no, they show up a few days beforehand and spend a few days just putting it all together, and then they live there for those 2 weeks and take it all down and travel back.
Did you say this was Ohio?
This is over in Pennsylvania.
Over
in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania.
Where?
Slippery Rock.
Slippery Rock. I don't know.
Of course, it's called Slippery Rock. It's just
right.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's a lot of fun because I love camping, and the guys I do this with are some of my best friends in the world. They're just a great group of guys. I've described before as like it's all the camaraderie and support that fraternities claim to have but don't actually have. Because like at one point when I was living down south, like my car got broken into and vandalized. Like they ripped the engine apart and tore parts out. I couldn't move. I had to move it on.
And a band of pirates came.
They did. I literally was like, I was like, so this happened, and so when the guy's like, all right, hop in the truck, we hopped in his truck. 4 of them came with me, and we got the car moved out onto the side of the road so I could have it scrapped because at that point it needed to be junked. And
wow.
There was a point where my roommates like abandoned me with the apartment. I had to pay the last month's electric bill before I moved out, and I didn't have the money. And they all like took up a collection and got me the money. They're just a great group of guys. Wow. They've been really awesome.
So I got a question about like the garb. Okay. Are you one that wears? Are you like a captain with the parrot, or are you one of the henchmen?
Oh, I'm not. We have a captain, a commodore, and an admiral. I am
okay.
The captain who was my captain originally, she's this great lady named Chelsea. She and her husband, her husband's like this hardcore Marine, and she's just very much the female version of him, so she can kick any of our asses like hands down. But she's very. I mean, she's a mother of 3. She's very much a mother to all of us. You know, the way she looks out for anyone, but if you're acting like an idiot, she'll tell you you're acting like an idiot.
I just want to clarify, you do have donkeys on the premises.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
We do. Sure.
Want to make sure, and she does kick them from time to time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, yeah, if they're not pulling the cart. Because your ass has got to pull the cart, or they're not
absolutely.
Or they're not worth the money you paid.
Absolutely. Exactly. But yeah, so we have a captain, we have a commodore, which is the next step up from captain, and we have an admiral who kind of runs our whole camp. Because we do have like bylaws. Mostly the reason we do that is just because we don't want anyone to feel like they can't. It's more or less to make sure we can't get sued.
But they're more sort of general
they're
guidelines.
Like guidelines more than actual rules. And we all kind of have our roles to play. So I'm a musician and a comedian, and so I'm the crew. I'm the bard.
Oh, okay.
So my job is to entertain the crew whenever I'm around. Obviously, I'm not around as much anymore, but and we have people who like their job is like we have a guy we call him quote unquote the navigator. His job is just he has a map of the campground. He knows how to get to and from everywhere because it's a maze. It's a huge, especially at night when you're going out to other camps and partying and stuff like that. So his whole thing is
looting and
pillaging. Oh, that happens.
Really?
That happens.
Like
not like
in a fun way.
Not like in a fun way. We have all because the Penzic. It's called Penzic
as opposed to the very violent.
As opposed to the violent guy.
Yeah, so that's when the Vikings show up.
As opposed to what happened to your car.
Exactly. It's not like that. So we do this thing called the game. We just call it the game. And so what it is like at our camp we have we have a log that somebody actually carved to look like a dragon. It's this really nice piece of wooden artwork. And she kind of sits at the entrance to our camp and she's the guard. Now, there was a night where one of the other camps, we had thrown a party at our camp. And so we were all asleep until, 2 p.m. the next day because we were hammered. And we wake up and the dragon's gone with a ransom note. It's like if you want your dragon back, it'll cost you either like a bottle of rum or like a case of beer. And then they get some ridiculous ones like a swimming pool full of kittens and things like that. Just trying to be outrageous because you can.
Yeah.
And so we then had to, like, get a bottle of rum and take it to them and get our dragon back. There was another camp who had this huge, like, wooden wheel that they would roll in front of their door at the end of the night. Somebody took their crew over and, like, walked off with it. This is not like you need, like, 10 guys to lift this thing. So they took all their people over and lifted it and walked away from us, and they hired us to go get it back. And it probably would have been, but,
well, they were drunk.
Whatever.
It's okay.
So we went and got it back, but we didn't just roll it back. We actually had our captain stand on top of it while me and the 10 dudes who were all built like me lifted it above our heads and carried it over, like, while she's standing up there with her Captain Morgan pose, and we're singing the Smurfs theme song, going la 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 the whole time, because we're idiots and we're drunk.
Exactly.
Look, we're camping out dressed like pirates. I mean,
yeah,
go big or go home.
Anything goes at that point.
It is. yeah. But it's honestly some of the most fun you could ever have.
As soon as I told Brandon about that, his eyes lit up. He's just been dying to find out.
Every time you've mentioned this to other comics as well. Like I know you mentioned it to Travis and John, and like the next day they're just like, so what's up with this pirate thing? And they're all out there right now. I'm missing it this year because my brother's getting married in September, and I had to miss it this year. But they're all out there right now, and I'm seeing pictures already. And I'm just kind of like, oh, I could be there right now.
So how many years have you been doing this?
Last year was the first year I actually went to the big camp out thing. I've known these guys
like
for 5 years though.
Something?
Do what?
Are there like subsect?
There's throughout the whole country,
many pirate camps.
There are, yeah. But because
it
actually the main focus is for it to be like medieval, and then just at that time there were also pirates, so it's really more of a medieval reenactment. And then there's just 15 or 16 camps that are pirate themed, and so we're there to kind of like you'll be like, okay, so over there is where you can see like people from this country, and over there's those freaking pirates, and then we have our own.
So I guess I never really thought about like what era the pirates that we know of were around. It's
like 16th through 18th century England and Ireland, and
it's
that
like
kind
a
of
history
thing.
podcast today or radio show.
Well, you can learn history at Penzic. They actually have activity tents, and some of them are like you can go learn about like the kinds of games they played, like quote, for lack of a better word, board games, or you can actually go take like history lessons there and learn about like the way the hierarchy works. Like, did you know when you watch a medieval film or show, did you know there actually is a logic to where the king and queen sit depending on who all's there?
No.
There actually is. I found this out, and I was like, that's the weirdest detail to have rules for, but it has rules, and that's kind of interesting. So,
does it have anything to do with how you set up a chessboard?
Actually, yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Strategery. That's
strategery. Or Stratego, or one of those. Right. I don't know.
So
have I talked about pirates enough?
I think so.
Now you know,
good,
Brandon.
Huh?
Well, now you know.
Now I know.
Knowing is half the battle.
There's lots to take in.
It is.
Move over, Jimmy Kimmel. Step aside, Conan O'Brien. Back off, Stephen Colbert. It's my turn. I'm Mike Shea, and every Tuesday on my show, Mike Talks Funny, I sit down and talk with comedians, actors, film fans, podcasters, anybody willing to get down, get deep, and get dirty.
I don't remember the first time I had sex. That was horrible. I didn't even finish the first time I had sex.
I've tasted what most comics want, and now I have to go back and eat the leftovers.
You're so brave for wearing that shade of lipstick on stage. My God.
Think of Last Comic Standing, and Mystery Science Theater 3000 had a baby, and that's the show.
My online doppelganger is also a larger black man. He is Adrian Miller. All the top results are he's a professor.
Interviews with great people, not to mention all kinds of awesome new music every show.
Hey, this is Don Smith.
This is Scotty Mays.
Hey, this is Kevin Goatee with Comics Watching Comics.
Brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
Lane, I've been going to this high school for 7.5 years. I'm no dummy.
All right, we're back on the live radio show. I'm your host, Don Smith, sitting in with my guest co-host, Mike Shea.
Haven't left yet.
Hasn't run out yet. And too ugly for Tinder, Brandon Berry.
That just needs to be like your Twitter handle.
That's the name of my show now.
I'm glad to give you that name. I do want to address something that we talked during the break. I did pay for Tinder,
which makes
the
it even
premium Tinder,
yeah.
and they still would not let me use it.
Well, that's why. If it was just the regular Tinder, that's for the ugly people.
Yeah,
the premium Tinder, you better be a
look
hottie, or you're out.
What's the perk of paying for Tinder?
Because you can see who likes you, then you can like choose, and then you have multiple. I don't want to get into it.
Okay.
So basically, you can see who's already liked you. So it's basically a way for you to lower your standards and up your chances.
That's right.
Because they already looked at mine.
That just feels desperate.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why you pay for it.
That's why you pay, and you don't pay for it if you're not desperate.
That's true. Oh man.
Yeah. So that's my advice. Don't pay for it. Because you're just going to get kicked off anyway.
Never
pay for it. Eventually, you'll get it for free somewhere.
Yeah. If you pay for it, there's a good chance.
If
you pay for it, there's a good chance you're going to be itching in the future.
Yes. You sometimes get more than you pay for.
That's true.
Sure. I've heard.
So they say. I don't actually know, but
if I'd say on pirate weekends, you probably don't have to pay for it.
You just get it.
Well,
for Tinder, we're still talking about Tinder. Yeah.
They always say if you can't get laid at Penzic, you're doing something wrong. Well, apparently I did something wrong. So. I don't know. I thought
you're the bard. They don't want to interrupt.
Exactly.
They don't want to interrupt your entertaining.
Exactly.
So we got any news stories today?
We have got some news stories.
Oh, yes.
Boy, have I got some news stories.
I need some Don Smith news stories because the regular news stories are just ticking me off.
Well, yeah. That's
I had to
all
check
they
myself
do.
there for a
well,
second.
this one isn't too far from a regular news story. A man serving a life sentence without parole after being convicted of 2 murders is running for U.S. Senate seat. Leonard Richards, 75 years old, was convicted of killing his half-sister, Mae Wilson. I don't know what he did with the other half. In 1982, and of shooting dead his lawyer, Robert Stratton, in 1987. Apparently, he couldn't get him off the murder charge the first time. He is serving a life term in Stillwater Prison in Minnesota, where the law allows felons to run for federal office, but bars them from vying for state-level office. Because that makes perfect sense. Get them out of their state. Mm-hmm. The sister of Mr. Stratton, apparently the other one,
the other half.
Right. So the other half told the Star Tribune newspaper that the Minnesota Secretary of State's office could not keep Richards off the ballot. She wants voters to be informed of Richards' history and intends to ask politicians to change the requirement stating that, quote, even one vote for this murderer is too many. So what do we think of that? You're allowed to run. He's serving a life sentence in prison.
Yeah.
And he's going to run for U.S. Senate. How he's going to serve U.S. Senate from prison, I guess the rest of them are fairly close anyway.
Well, I mean, it's not like the ones who are actually there are doing a whole lot. So,
right,
I mean,
yeah. You seem confused.
A little. I guess he's got to,
some of the stories on this show will do that to you.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what I thought when I first read this. It's like, first of all, why? Second, what's the point?
Now, can he get a phone call every day?
Yeah, just one phone call from
one
the Senate.
Phone call. Can he phone in?
He just votes absentee every time.
Well,
he never shows up for a vote.
Well, how is that? Why is it just because they didn't make a law that can't happen? That this person is allowed to do?
Well, I believe they have. What does it say?
Has anybody done it in the past?
Look, unless he's Tim Robbins or Morgan Freeman.
It says the law allows felons to run for federal office
because they don't have anything.
Right.
But they didn't outright say felons can run for Senate.
Right. They didn't say, "Hey guys, have we got a deal for you?" See, my guess is the guy's just trying to get a pardon. That's really, he gets in there, gets to know a few guys, even though they just have to come and visit.
Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna vote for him this time around.
Okay, well, he's in Minnesota, so I don't think we can vote for him anyway. But I don't know if I would or not.
Yeah, maybe next time.
I'd have to see his platform. I'd have to see, is he running Republican, Democrat? Is he an independent?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see which
a lot of
way
things
swings.
depend on this one.
Yeah. It all depends on which side of the aisle, and which side of the lunchroom, or the yard. Which side of the yard he tends to hang out on. I guess.
Here's my question. This is probably the first time in history that this has happened, right?
Oh, no, there have been several convicted felons in the Senate over, there are probably several convicted felons in Senate right now.
Okay.
Sure.
None of them are currently in prison.
Okay.
Many of them are under indictment. Many of them are, have been in prison. I don't think any of them currently are.
Okay, well, never mind.
Yeah, I really couldn't see that this would be the first time.
So they're probably not going to change the law.
Right.
Just because it's one case.
Well, yeah, if they change the law and say you can't be a U.S. senator if you've had any convictions, then we're not going to have anybody in those seats. I mean, that's going to be just pandemonium. There'll be 2 senators left, and they're both the guys from Rhode Island that have never done anything.
They just need the asses in the seats. That's all they need.
There you go with donkeys again.
Be a hell of a midterm election.
Democrats. There you go.
Right.
There you go. You guys got to remember we're on the radio. There are only certain those kind of animals we can talk about.
Well, I heard it mentioned earlier. That's why I thought it was okay.
Right. Well, that's why I had to mention that it was also a donkey pulling a cart that he was talking about.
Look, I can't keep track anymore.
I don't want to be screamed at.
Of donkeys and elephants. And,
I can't keep track anymore.
All right, what else we got going on?
What else we got? A superintendent in New Jersey accused of publicly defecating on the local high school's track and football field has resigned from his job.
That was it?
Thomas Tremaglini, 42, resigned as superintendent of the Kenilworth School District on Thursday night. An email to staffers said he was resigning due to, quote, events unrelated to his service for Kenilworth. The email continued, It has become clear that Dr. Tremaglini and the Kenilworth Board of Education that his continued service as superintendent of the schools has become too much of a distraction to the main mission of the district, which is apparently not pooping on the football field. Tremaglini was arrested in May and accused of defecating on the Holmdel High School track and football field on a daily basis. Not just a one-time thing. Every day he would drive to the rival school and fertilize their football field. That is fantastic.
Look, I'm sure that grass has never been softer or greener in all their life, in all their time there.
Grass is always greener on the other side.
It's AstroTurf.
Oh, man. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, a daily basis. That is wonderful right there. I can see
that takes dedication.
I can see getting drunk one time doing it. This is a sober gentleman that has said, "Hey, I know I'm superintendent and I'm supposed to be a respectable individual, but to heck with those guys, I'm pooping on their field."
But see, my thing is like,
day.
Does he live right by the school? Because if I feel like I got to poop, like I need to be on the toilet within the next couple of minutes. Not like, I got time for a drive. Let me hold this in while I'm driving. However long to get to the next school. Oh, almost there.
Then the only thing I have to say is you, my friend, live on the edge.
I do.
If you wait till there's only a few minutes left.
I do. Yeah. How long? I got to make sure it's actually a poop and not just a fart.
Right.
You might have a sphincter problem.
This is good radio.
Could be.
Right
this
here.
is quality radio. Right here. Karen Jaffe is loving this show right now.
Exactly. Moving on. A zoo in Cairo is allegedly showing its true stripes by passing off painted donkeys as zebras.
Back on donkeys!
See, back on the striped asses. Mahmoud Saran recently visited the International Garden, a municipal park in Cairo, and immediately became suspicious of the animals in the zebra exhibit. For starters, their ears were bigger than their snouts were lighter than those of the typical zebra. Although the zoo's director, Mohammed Sultan, insisted his zebras were 100% legit to local radio station Nagoom FM, a local vet told the Cairo-based extranews.tv that a zebra snout should be black and the stripes should be more consistent and parallel. CBS News also notes that zebras and donkeys, despite bearing a resemblance to horses, are different species.
Duh.
So, I read that story earlier, and you failed to mention that they actually interviewed those donkeys.
Oh, did they? They interviewed the donkeys themselves.
Yeah. See, I thought you were going to build off that, and I really have nothing else.
What was the political platform of the donkeys? Like, do they have a shot of running against our murderer from Missouri?
Well, not there, because they're from Cairo. They're Cairo donkeys.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
they're Egyptian donkeys.
Oh man,
which is weird because they pull a cart walking like this.
My next question is in
Can't
some
see
of the
the
names.
visual on the radio, but it was funny.
Yeah.
Muhammad Sultan was the guy.
Yes, Muhammad Sultan.
Man.
And what was the other gentleman?
What was the name of the radio station?
Nagum.
Nagum FM.
Or Nogum. Nogoum.
Nogum FM.
Or it could be No Goem.
No Goem.
No Goem.
No gum.
We're idiots.
Hey,
we
speaking of Cairo, remember that movie Brain Dead? Maybe Dead Alive? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson, yeah. Wasn't that first part where they first discovered that monkey in Cairo? Not that this has anything to do with donkeys and zebras,
but it's still it's a devil rat monkey.
Yeah, that's like
the guy's mother. Yes,
such a good movie. I just have to
say
it's fantastic.
You said Brain Dead in Cairo. I was thinking about Matthew McConaughey in Sahara. So.
Yeah, Brain Dead.
A good movie.
Matthew McConaughey are pretty close. Have you ever seen Dead Alive?
I have seen Dead Alive.
Peter Jackson's awesome early movie. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's no Lord of the Rings, though.
That baby scene when he's pushing him through the...
Hyperactive. Swimming instructor, lifeguard, and adventurer Yane Petkov.
Awesome.
Bulgaria's answer to Houdini and Michael Phelps combined. Reclaimed on Tuesday the Guinness World Record for swimming along with his hands and feet tied while fully wrapped inside a sack.
What was he using?
What
was he using?
I guess just his head or his
swimming
tongue.
like a
Maybe
dolphin, I guess?
I guess so.
Whole...
Petkov, 64 years old, swam 3,380 meters in Macedonia's Lake Ohrid, beating the record of Indian fisherman Gopal Karvi. Not Dana, no relation to Dana Carvey, who in 2013 swam 3,071 meters in the Indian Ocean, though not in a sack. Well, it shouldn't count then. If your record is for swimming with your hands and feet tied together in a sack, you cannot be beaten by somebody swimming that's outside of a sack.
Yeah, otherwise
it doesn't work that way.
That's the point. Otherwise,
that's a whole other record because there's no sack.
Have you swam with your clothes on before?
Yeah, it kind of weighs you down. It's hard to do. Yeah.
And without having your extremities to move you along.
You would just sink.
I just love the idea of combining Michael Phelps and Houdini. I want to watch that. That's a buddy travel movie I want to watch.
Yeah, the Bulgarian swimmer already had one entry in the Guinness Book of Records in 2013 with 2,030 meters, but he only held it for 3 months until he was overtaken by Carvey. Which, again, not in the sack, doesn't count. It only counts if you get it in the sack.
Yeah.
That's one of my dating rules.
Before his latest attempt, Petkov said he planned to swim 3.5 kilometers, and Guinness observers were present for the swim, organized by the Red Cross, because they were going to be needed if it didn't work out, and the water sports clubs of Ohrid and Petric. So why would you decide to go swimming with your hands and feet? I don't think he decided. That was a mafia hit.
Right.
That was the first time.
He just happened to be very good at doing
that. That was the Bulgarian mob that was trying to take him out, and he survived it. That was his 2,000 meter.
They didn't
record.
give him a pair of concrete shoes. That was the problem.
Yeah, they just tied him up and threw him in a sack.
Exactly.
Said, "This'll do."
They skipped a step because they were being cheap and they were being lazy.
Sometimes thriftiness does not get the job done.
Exactly.
That's the lesson from that story.
Exactly.
Right there.
If Al Capone had been that lazy, they wouldn't have had to wait for tax fraud to catch him.
Exactly. Somebody would have come up and said, "He threw me in the river in a sack. I swam away."
Who was it? It was that guy. The guy that...
Yeah. Jeez. Yep. I am Michael Phelps Houdini. I swam away from that.
This fall on ABC.
Michael Phelps Houdini.
Rob Schneider is.
Oh, that's South Park reference. That's awesome.
It's a classic South Park reference, by the way.
Yeah, that's fun. I thought of that the first thing. It's like, yep, this guy, either he got in trouble with the mob or his dad really didn't like him when he was a teenager. Like, we're going to throw this one out. We're just chucked him into the lake. Want to go fishing this weekend, boy? Yep, sometimes your dad teaches you how to swim, and it's hard to get out of the sack. Time for one more news story, and then we're going to promote whatever we have to promote, which is my show. Pretty much. I don't think
I got some things.
You got some things? Okay, good. Well, you have some things.
I got some stuff.
You got some stuff. You got some stuff. You got some things. I got some items. We're good to go.
We need some junk.
I don't want to end it, though, because it's not as good as probably what you guys are promoting.
Okay, we'll save you for last then.
Okay.
Braving Europe's heat wave, more than 150 Santas from around the world donned their heavy suits and full beards at the annual conference in Denmark. As the 61st World Santa Claus Congress kicked off in Copenhagen, many of the delegates from countries as far away as Japan and the United States, I don't think you can get much further apart, took a paddle in the sea to the amusement of local bathers. The 3-day event will see the Santas visit the Little Mermaid statue during a parade and go head-to-head in the Santa Obstacle Course World Championships. Normally us Santas work alone, said Santa Ian Tom, 67, of Scotland, who is attending his 6th Congress this year. This is like a big family, but a family you get on with. For Santa Douglas, 60, from Washington, D.C., attending his 12th convention, it is the international feel of the event that keeps luring him back.
I love how they're using Santa as a prefix.
It's like Mr. Santa, yes. Santa Ian Tom.
It's a rank. That's their official rank.
Yep. I rank double Santa. I outrank you. Yes, the Santas get together. I didn't know that they had an annual conference in Denmark, because where else would it be?
I feel like you should be there, Don.
No, well, I'm not a Santa. That's
you could be, though.
I know I'm
not with
fat
that
and
attitude.
jolly, and I appreciate you pointing that out.
Jolly, fat, you know.
Yeah, I'm not really jolly. Only on here. I laugh more here than I do in the rest of of my days.
That's true.
I assume you've never been a mall Santa, but have you dressed up as a Santa?
I have not.
Santa Don Smith?
I have not. There is no Santa Don Smith.
That's well, you got a question?
No, I've done it.
You have
done it. I did.
Really?
First few years of college, I did it to make extra money.
Wow.
I did it for our homeowners association, where we used to live with my parents, and they were doing like a thing for all the kids in the neighborhood. So I dressed up for that, and then I just kept the suit and would do it for money, like in Columbia, South Carolina, Christmas time.
Wow, that's interesting. I've never met. I've never met a Santa before.
Oh. Yeah, we're getting
I'm sorry.
Strange looks from
Actually,
from Dan
I
out
took.
there.
When I was 4 years old, I pooped on a Santa's lap.
That was Mike.
That was me. Crap, I'm old.
How are you doing? Are you okay?
A little traumatized.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that's why I could never be a mall Santa, because I don't like kids, and I don't want them near me.
That's kind of what it goes back to.
Yeah. All right.
And I would think if I was ever to be a mall Santa, I would like kids much less.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Just being in the mall when someone else is Santa and seeing those kids, I'm just like, oh, thank God that's not me.
But I would love to compete in the Santa Obstacle Course World Championship.
Oh, I'm down.
That would be
let's
fantastic.
Do this.
We need it.
Let's train for next year, Don.
It needs to be like that. What was the Big Balls show? What was that show?
What?
Wipeout.
Wipeout.
Yeah.
It needs to be like that.
Well, now
they got Santa Claus doing Wipeout.
Now you got American Ninja Warrior, which is kind of the same thing.
There you go.
So just dress up like Santa and train for American Ninja Warrior.
American Santa Ninja Warrior.
Yeah. We got a year, Don. We've got a year, Don.
We're there.
We're there.
All right. Well, I know as far as things to promote, get out to Wiley's this weekend for Mike Paramore. Very, very funny.
Oh, yeah.
Man. He's been on this show a couple times. Great guy. Go out and see him.
Mike's funny. Mike's very funny.
And it's not just the
Not
name.
just it's not just the name, yeah.
And listen to this show you're listening to. That's the only other thing I got to promote. Other than Wiley's Sunday Comics, which I will be part of this Sunday for the first time in a little while.
I might actually go.
Oh well, I appreciate your
I'll
vote
try.
of confidence.
I will try. It's hard, but I will try.
It is hard. I'll try to be there too. Mike, what do you have to promote? See, I told you we're saving you for last, Brandon.
See, so
whatever.
As always, check out my podcast, Mike Talks Funny, Tuesdays on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all that stuff. Wednesdays, Track Record with me and Robert Yetter. And if you're really bored and want to listen to me talk on my drive home, Mike's Drive Time Thoughts is also available on iTunes. It's 15 minutes of me just talking about whatever's ticking me off that day while I drive home.
That sounds delightful.
It's awesome. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right. Brandon,
And
what's going on?
I'm promoting for someone else. Check out the trailer for Immaculate Possession on YouTube from Inner Demon Studios. Me, like I said earlier, me and Craig Brian Hall are editing this movie, and it should be out around Christmas time. So,
I'm going to have to try to get Jason Sherlow in here sometime.
He's a great guy.
Him and Aaron. I need to get those two in.
Yep.
Haven't been able to work that out yet.
Well, make it happen.
I'll make it happen.
Okay.
If I have to kidnap him,
All right.
we'll get him in here one way or another.
Do it.
All right.
All right. Get on.
Careful joking about that, Don. You might get fired in 9 years.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Anything else? Is that
No,
all you got? All right.
that is it right now.
All right. And, of course, Black Mamba. Hopefully we get to see that before
right.
too long.
Yep, I'm excited for people to see that, too.
Do you guys have a release date for that yet? Or?
No, we don't have a date yet. We did do a premiere you didn't go to.
Hey, I know. Love the trailer.
Then you'll love the movie.
It's a great movie. Yeah. It really is. It's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And this is now like 3 or 4 people who have worked on it that I've met. I met Lex Zorn and met the director. So
you did?
Yeah, briefly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right, well, we're going to take a little break. We're going to kick Brandon out here. He's too ugly for Tinder. He's too ugly for the radio. So had to throw it out there one more time.
Thanks, Dan.
We'll be back here shortly with who's coming in. Dan Sebree is coming in to see us for the first time in a while. So stick around. We will be right back.
Talking about movies is what Aaron Lopez does best.
We are talking about The Greatest Showman, Thor Ragnarok, Love Simon, Hereditary,
with an army of special guests.
Jordan Lopez, Aaron Brewer, Jack Elliott, my good friend Carly.
Special moments you don't want to miss.
The very first ever Drunk Drive-In. We are more looking at the Oscar nominations.
So grab some snacks and a cold drink.
Let's all go to the lobby, refill your drinks.
Every Thursday.
Eventide Entertainment presents The Drive-In.
All right. I'll tell you what to do. Go that way, really fast. If something gets in your way, turn.
All right, here we are back on the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith, sitting in with my guest co-host for the week, Mr. Mike Shea.
Can't get rid of me.
Yep, we tried. And we have swapped out Brandon Barry, and we now have Dan Sebree of Super Dope fame. And
I was going to say, you can't get rid of Mike, but I'll leave if you want.
No, you're good. It's been a while since we've had you on, actually.
It's really nice to see you. How you been?
Yeah, I've been good. Been busy, but good. What have you been up to?
Nothing. I was sitting outside the room waiting to come in, and then I would hear the radio play, and then you guys talk, so there's like a little bit of a delay.
Yeah,
I had a real
so it
weird
looked like
acid trip like a week and a half ago, so that was like throwing me for a loop. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, flashback.
Yeah, right.
It's terrible.
I had my first one last night. It was pretty cool, honestly, but it was my first one, so I'm sure it'll wear off soon.
Oh, it's good to have you.
Thanks,
man.
I'm
push
really
drugs on the children of the Wright State University. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, kids, stay in school.
Yeah. But no, I was talking. I went to the eye doctor. I had to take my wife to the eye doctor this morning, and I'm sitting in there, and there's very, very angry old man, probably 80 years old, been sitting there waiting, and he started using language that most of it I can't repeat on the air, except for one that I haven't heard probably since I was a little kid. Hogwash.
Wow.
I have not heard that in forever.
Man.
And it wasn't just hogwash. It was hogwash. This is hogwash.
He threw the R in there.
Oh, yeah, because you can't have true hogwash without the wash. So
that's how you know he's
have you
old
ever
and
heard
country.
That? Have you ever?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I say that pretty regularly, I feel like. But
oh, you do? You use hogwash?
Yeah. Not wash, let's be real. But, yeah. If they would have said it 40 years ago, I'm into it. You know?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
But also, what is hogwash?
Well, it's what you have left over after you've washed your hog.
I should have known.
Which would be my guess. That's why it's useless. That's something that's useless. It's hogwash. We don't need that.
No.
Because what else are you going to do with it? You already washed the hog. Now you just have this filthy water.
Mm.
But why would you wash a hog? That in itself is kind of useless.
It's a redundant task.
Yeah.
I cuddle with a hog.
I've had those nights myself. Sometimes
we all have.
Sometimes the end of the night when you're drunk, you just take the closest thing home.
A family radio show.
Exactly.
Oink means oink.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It depends on where you party.
Yeah.
Dan and I've partied in some strange places.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I just grabbed the boom for
for effect, and it worked.
Yeah.
Oh, it worked.
If this was on stage, they'd have been chuckling.
Just chuckling.
Just chuckling.
Just not even a full
it was
laugh.
Slightly
it's
comedic effect. So what have you been up to? I know you got Super Dope chugging along still, and
yeah, I've been a lot. We've been so we did I do a show called Super Dope, and it's a monthly showcase. It's been in a bunch of different locations. Every place it's been in has been like a house. So we've gone over 3 years and 5 months this next week. So been focusing on that, and then my girlfriend and I, we run a variety show together called Super Dope Variety Show. So it's like stand-up, live music. Cool. Sometimes there's drag, sometimes there's like poetry. I want to get like a fire dancer because that'd be kind of cool. And some other
depends on where you had it.
Yeah, 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 right. That's true. So we've been working on that, and actually, Wiley's just picked up the variety show, so we'll be doing it there monthly.
So I'm going to recommend the fire dancer.
Definitely
probably
do it. Collect the insurance money.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely
understood.
Yeah. That's where I was going with it.
Yeah, right.
Like,
how much is this sucker really worth? And then I had this idea the other day. So you know how you guys religious at all?
No.
Okay, cool, good. But I work in a place that there's a lot of people that go there. So kids will hand me like little tracts, you know, like a little magazine, like a little mini magazine. And the art, honestly, is really, really cool. But what's inside is like a real bummer. It's like, have you thought about where you go when you die? I was like, well, not really, you know. Like I wasn't really. But then it's just like a total bummer. The more you flip through, you're like, oh man, I'm screwed. I'm gonna die. Yeah. I'm gonna burn in hell forever. But I want to do that, but like a little better. You know what I mean? But so like have like the same like style and just give it to like random people. Like act like I'm witnessing, right? And give
for
it,
your shows.
Yeah, but hold on. So I give it to them, right? And I'd be like, "Thank you. Have a blessed day." And I just walk away, and then it's just filled with this like filthy one-liners.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah. So I've just been working on that, and so I'll do like one page will be like a filthy one-liner, and then on the next like adjacent page, my girlfriend's gonna just draw up whatever the joke is to like put a little bit more oomph behind it to really drive it home.
See, that's great. That's a brilliant idea.
I love that idea. Actually, that's.
Now, is it going to be a promo thing, or are you going to have your information, or at least your?
I definitely want to put my name on it.
Okay,
and I think of my girlfriend's. I think that's going to be it. And just like, because I kind of want it to exist just out there, and then if someone happens to like kind of come around to it, then I think that'll be pretty neat.
Right. Because at first, I mean, that's gonna surprise people when they're expecting a religious thing, and there's going to be good and bad with that, because there are some people that just need that spiritual moment right at that time you hand them that, and they're going to be sobbing uncontrollably and thinking of all the things that they want to do, that they're looking for a sign. and you handing them that, they're going to think is their sign, and they're going to open it up to a penis joke, and that's going to be.
The first one's going to be about death. Let's be real.
That's even better. So.
Yeah, right. I kind of want to see how far I can go with it without people like noticing what's actually inside. So like I'm thinking of honestly like printing.
There will be a lot of people that won't even open them.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's going to get into trash cans, which I got to figure out. There's some way I'm going to have to get past that part because every time I go, I'm like, oh, thank you, and then like I put my gum in it or whatever.
Right, it's like they're saying, here, throw this away for me.
Yeah, it's like
it's somebody else's joke.
Yeah, right. So I'm going to try and figure out. I think what I want to do is because there's one that I have that I've actually kept because I loved the cover, and it's like this real like far out art on the front, like old like 60s, 70s kind of like pop art deal. And then on the front of it, it's got a really cool title. It says "Happy Was the Man." So I thought it was like a cool like little thing, and then it's like Jesus, and I was like, this is a bummer.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Happy. Happy was the man.
Yeah.
Happy, my buddy Happy.
I'm gonna do it and be like, what man's happy? You know what I mean?
I think I handed one of those one time, and he opened it up, and it was about how like if you like rock and heavy metal, like the fist of God is going to come down and smite you, and they had this graphic of this fist pounding a planet. And at first I was like, well, that's a really metal image on its own. But then I realized, oh wait, that's the cover from Judas Priest's Ram It Down album. Nice going.
That's so funny on so many different levels.
And they got sued for copyright infringement.
I hope
I'm going to do the same thing, but it's like, if you like Paul Simon, let's hang out. Right. It's going to be like a picture of us passing a joint or whatever. Or, I mean, a cigarette.
Yes, a cigarette. The tobacco
jazz cigarette.
Yeah.
Left-handed cigarette.
Jazz cigarette.
A clove cigarette.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are always fantastic.
Those are Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure.
I'm just stuck on these little religious pamphlets, and I don't know why. Because I think that's such a unique.
Thanks. I think because it resonates. Like, for me, I was raised crazy religious. Like, went to church like 5 times a week. Went from church, and then I went to like a religious school like from 3rd grade. It backfired. I don't know. Whatever they did, they didn't do it right. know. And then,
I do find that some of the most non-religious people I know were raised in heavily religious upbringings.
Oh,
it does. Sure. It has an opposite effect
because basically, I guess when you're raised that strict religion, there's only 2 directions you can go, and they're total opposites.
Well,
there's not like you can just, if you were raised in that religious scenario where you can kind of just like
you either accept the indoctrination or you
I think
move on to greener pastures.
I think it was interesting because like I think if you're raised religious, you either stay that level or you completely go the opposite direction, right? Yeah. So like I don't know, I think my school, like, they taught a lot of critical thinking and like don't accept any answer just because someone says it, and then they're like, yeah, cool, and then you start reading the Bible, and then you're like, well, what about this? And they're like, stop asking questions. So you're like, well, at what point?
My school, actually, when I was in junior high, they still had Bible study classes.
Oh yeah,
in school.
Oh wow,
that we had to take. Yes, public school.
Whoa!
Oh yeah, they got in some trouble for that too, but a couple years later. But yeah, they still had them.
So I was in Catholic school for a number of years, so
right.
That wasn't a shock.
That wasn't a shock to you. I was in a public school, and actually a friend of mine, because I was one of the long-haired hoodlum guys that didn't really conform, even though my family is fair. My mother was very religious, raised very religious, and tried with us, and it just didn't work. But one of my friends actually had an earring in that day that was an upside down cross, and he got hit in the head with a Bible.
Whoa! Talk about metal. That's pretty metal. That's so cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I wish someone would hit me in the face with a Bible.
Exactly. Because that's really how you want to pass your religion on. Is forcefully in the face with your holy book. That's really
when my mom got married and I was leaving Catholic school to go to a public school. I remember before I left, some of them were like, they preach the word of Satan in those public schools. It's like, I don't think that's true. I mean, I'm 9, but even then I'm like, I don't think
the
that's
other
true.
side of things.
But on the other hand, I'm kind of like, wonder what that's like.
Yeah. Yep, I've read all this story.
Is it just the Bible from a different point of view? Like they just turn the camera to the left a little bit?
Yeah.
Did you see?
Just a little skewed.
I can't remember where it is. I think it's in Utah, maybe. Mike, you might know. But so they had like this. There's like it's on government grounds. They put like a religious statue, like a Judeo-Christian religious statue, up on public grounds. So the Church of Satan got so mad about it, they started protesting. And so what they did though to protest is they kept submitting to have a statue of the devil, right? Just on these grounds, like on this government property, because people don't want to get rid of the Christian one, obviously, right? So they're like, well, if you're going to do that, you have to do this. So, like, I think today or tomorrow there is like a statue of the devil going on like federal grounds, like right next to some religious statue.
Oh, wow.
And I'm so excited. I'm really excited about it.
I'm gonna retire there.
Yeah.
So there is actually a Church of Satan.
Yeah. Well,
because that just is that an organized.
Yeah, there's two different ones. I think that
because I would always think that would be like if you. How do you make an organized religion out of that? Because that's like the disorganized.
Yeah, well, I think their approach is like, well, we're just nihilists. You know what I mean? And they just call it Satan to make a point. Like, if you're going to speak about God, then like we're going to call it Satan.
One of them's called like LaVeyan Satanism, and I forget the name of the other one. I dated a girl who turned out to be a LaVeyan Satanist.
I slept with a Wiccan one time. That was weird.
I was a practicing Wiccan for a number of years because I was like,
you know what? You were?
I was because I was like, man, you know what? Forget this Catholic thing. What's the farthest from that I can go?
Witches.
And
You're a
I was a practicing Wiccan for 5 years.
How do you practice that? Just out of curiosity.
Lots of studying, actually. There's actually a lot of studying and a lot of one-on-one teaching, and
very similar to religion.
Yeah, I mean, no,
it's actually closer to Hogwarts than anything else. But
and that was the other thing is like that was the other part of it. Was like, look, I love Lord of the Rings, I love Harry Potter, I love this occult and mystical stuff. If there's a religion based on that, might as well give it a shot.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But
most of them.
Yeah, I know. But nah, I'm too skeptical for religion.
Yeah, that's all. It's organized religion in general. To me, has been.
I did.
Works for some people. For some other people,
and more power to them.
I was thinking the other day, and there was a point I almost wish I could. Mm-hmm. I wish I could because it's like I wish I could buy into it because then I could say, take all my cares, but I can't.
This is something.
So I got to keep them.
Yeah, this is the thing I've been thinking about a lot because a lot of my jokes do involve like death. Just in general, like just making light, whatever, just it's in there, you know. And I actually remembered like when I was like 8, 9, 10, like almost every single night I would cry because I was afraid my mom or me or one of my family members would die and then go to hell. Right? Isn't that like the most terrifying thing ever?
Well, yeah, that's how they.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid and that's what you hear about, it's going to affect.
It's like, it's crazy this amount of death anxiety. But then, like when I was a teenager, I was like, I don't really think about, like, like I don't
care.
Yeah, well, I just like stopped caring about religion, and then like you get like ostracized, especially going to like a religious school. They tell you like don't say anything to anybody, like blah blah blah, like, keep it quiet, don't show any disrespect. Like if you ask a question, that's like disrespectful or whatever.
Yeah. Well, even me living in the Bible Belt as long as I did, when I would tell people I was an atheist, dear God, did a lot.
Who?
Yeah, I know.
You're an atheist.
Somebody said, if you're an atheist, why do you say things like, "Oh my God" and "Dear God" and "God bless it" and all that? I'm like, well, I just don't capitalize the G.
Right. That's all it is.
But
I like to tell people God's a lady just to make them mad.
Yeah.
But no, I would just people say like, what's living like an atheist like? It's like I do the same things as you. It's just when I do something nice for people, I do it because I want to, not because I think it's going to score me points.
Right. Yeah.
Or if you hurt somebody's feeling, you talk to them about it instead of just praying.
Yeah.
I don't say, "Oh, you're going through a hard time. I'll pray for you." For me, it's more of a, "What can I do to help?"
Right. Yeah. But there you go.
I have one joke about it I do, and it's pretty much can be summed up as I'm a good person because I know it's the right thing to do, not because I'm trying to fulfill an obligation.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and the whole I'm sending prayers. That's okay. Thanks.
Yeah,
I just spit on everybody that says they're going through a rough time. I'm like, Puh, shut up.
You are?
Yeah. Puh, now it's worse. Later.
Yep, I'm.
And I just do a kickflip and I leave.
Perfect. I'm out.
Trade you later, nerds.
Well, it's a fine thing to say, but it's
the intent. I appreciate the intent.
Send me money.
Yeah. I can appreciate the intent behind
send me
it.
a cake.
But
Send me something useful.
Yeah. So when my dad died when I was 18, and then that was at the very tail end of my religious thing. But I still he had a very religious ceremony because he was so religious,
right.
And so at the end of it though, it was the first. He had been in home hospice care for 2 weeks, and so the only time that I had cried was the day of his funeral. Right, just kind of keeping it all together for the family, and then I was after the funeral. Someone came up to me because I was obviously upset, and they're like, "Your dad's in a better place now." I was like, "Dude, he used to live in a gated community. Now he's in a tin can in the ground. What are you talking about better place?" I think he got ripped off.
I think it's not much better. I don't.
Yeah, it's worse actually. He didn't live under anything. I feel like I really turned a lot of people off to Super Dope just by my. I'm sorry. I don't.
Because the whole religious crowd isn't going to come to your.
Yeah, good
Super
point.
Dope
If they get
shows,
a little bummed, better watch out. I'll spit on you.
Yep, and send you some prayer.
Right.
Yeah. Who was it? I think it was George Carlin was saying he'd just pray to Joe Pesci because he seems like a guy that would get things done.
Oh man, that's
you're going to
awesome.
pray to somebody, and might as well be to Joe Pesci. All right, man. I think we're going to take a little break. I got some Potter's Field queued up, for the religious destruction. The religious discussion. The song is called "Fell from Grace," so that it can fit.
It
All
works.
right, we'll be
It's on
back.
topic.
Yeah, we'll be back in a few minutes.
If there's one thing that's true about wrestling fans, it's how much they like to talk about wrestling. Join Aaron Lopez and Ben Norsworthy for the Top Rope Wrestling Podcast.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Tune in every episode and be ringside as these two break down all of the big matches in the world of professional wrestling. Brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
Hey man, this is Donnie Baker at Wiley's Comedy Club, and you're listening to WWSU 106.9. I swear to God.
All right, we're back on the Life Radio Show. I had to throw Donnie Baker in there. I haven't thrown that out there.
You need Donnie in every show.
Exactly. We should put that out there because it's for the club, and for the station.
Yeah, I guess
for the kids
and for the kids. Definitely for the kids. Everything.
Love
for
Donnie
the
Baker.
kids. Yeah.
So we're
back. We're back with my guest co-host Mike Shea and Dan Sebree sitting in with us. That's our greeting.
Some Wiccan cursed me, and that's
they didn't like the
There's
things we
actually
said.
a song we were listening to earlier that made that same noise.
Oh,
I don't
really?
understand why they did.
Was it the Quiznos song?
It was the same
It
one.
was the
as
Quiznos song? Okay.
And he would go, and it's
Yeah.
like, what does that
because
have
it's really
to do?
hot when you bit into the sandwich.
That's what I was guessing.
Is that the Quiznos we're talking about?
It was not. That's not actually what it was about, but that's what it sounded like he was saying. Was I get Quiznos all the time or something like that.
See, I hear Quiznos song, and I think back to the early 2000s with the Sponge Monkey commercials. You remember those?
No,
Don't
I was
remember
There are
those.
these commercials for Quiznos, and they had these little, construction paper-looking creatures that would come out and play a little guitar and sing a song about Quiznos and all their commercials. And
Oh,
it was
yeah.
the funny thing. Hey, Quiznos song!
Yeah. Was it like real life lips too?
Yeah, they had the real person lips, but they had a little construction paper.
Man,
Oh, they
early
were funny.
2000s animation was like, look, man, we're all eating a lot of ass.
We're all high.
Yeah,
look.
That's funny.
I remember one time, my dad and my stepmom got married in Vegas, and they're like, you can go anywhere you want in Vegas, and I chose Quiznos because we didn't have one in Dayton, and I That's so funny because I loved those commercials, and then it was like a $12 sub, and it was terrible.
Yeah, they're not good.
Never been back.
They're not great.
I think I've had one time. Wasn't impressed.
Yeah.
My favorite's Witch Witch.
What's that?
Well, that's because you were a
comedy.
They just opened the first one in Dayton over by Costco, over by me in Kettering.
Ooh.
And it's a sandwich place, and you can basically just
okay. So it's not Quiznos has a sandwich called Witch Witch.
No, it's actual
It's an
restaurant
actual-
called
okay.
Witch Witch. It's Witch sandwich.
The Wicked
Okay,
Sub
so
Shop.
it's not like that's what I was going to say. It's not
That
like
would be awesome.
WITCH. It's not Witch.
The sandwich must choose you, like in Harry Potter. The wand.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to try a witch. It'd have like testicles of a newt, and, little bat's blood. Yeah, that's not really
Robin's egg and
Robin's egg, eyeballs of a crocodile.
Yeah. What do I know about a witch? I'm just your cook.
Terrible.
Oh,
yeah, the Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Aha.
In case you didn't get the reference.
It's a great
I haven't
Mel
seen
Brooks
that in
movie.
forever.
that is a great movie.
Yeah, Tracy Ullman was funny in that. Yeah,
I'm just going to say, anytime
his name was Latrine. I'm not going to tell you what it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Because we'd have to bleep it.
We'd have to bleep it. I'd have to bleep it.
What is it?
I'll tell you off the air.
I'll say it right now.
I was going to write it down and show him, but then he'd read it out loud, and it would defeat.
You know I can't read.
That's right. I forgot, Dan. I'm sorry.
Draw a picture.
I'll do it with emojis.
Yep, I ought to do that. No, well, they do have an emoji for that.
That's true. They do. They do. Voiced by Patrick Stewart. Oh my God. That movie happened.
That it did.
You guys seen
All
the
my news is
Rugrats movie?
upside down.
Yeah.
What movie?
The Rugrats movie?
That Rugrats movie as a kid made me cry.
Dude, whoops. Yeah, both of them.
Because it gets dark.
Dude, in the first one,
These
kids get separated from their parents and their babies, and then it's like, isn't this fun? You're like, not at all, actually.
It's
this
horrifying.
is terrible. Tommy can't even speak. This is ridiculous.
And then he tries to feed his baby brother. He has an emotional collapse and is going to feed his baby brother to the monkeys in a lightning storm. And I'm like 8, and I'm like, this is horrifying.
Yeah, honestly, though, like, could have been a lot worse. You know what I mean, yeah. Monkeys are pretty much people, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that's basically what I picked up from science class. So we're all monkeys.
Except all the throwing of feces. And that's,
you don't do that?
Like
you don't do that?
Mic.
Yeah. But in the second Rugrats movie, you find out Chucky's mom's dead. And they're like, you just kind of wrestle with that for the whole time during the movie. It's terrible.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them. So
oh, man, you should. They're classics.
Don's too old.
They sound lovely.
Yeah.
Don's old.
What did you say?
I said, you're too old for
How
this.
old are you?
No, I mean, what did you say? I couldn't hear you.
I'm 29.
29?
29.
When's your birthday?
Wow.
January 4th.
No, I mean,
So you're a
that in a
Capricorn?
good
I am
way,
a
Mike.
Capricorn. I know.
Don, when's your birthday?
I look a lot older than 29.
I wasn't going to say that, but I was
August
thinking
14th, 2 weeks.
Oh, you're a
2
Leo.
weeks, yeah,
Far out.
Leo.
I knew it. You took it off Facebook.
What's that?
You took your birth date off Facebook.
I don't think I ever put it on there.
Then how did I know?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm
Because I just
ESPN.
told you. You have ESPN?
Yeah.
Should we do some news stories?
Always.
Should we hit some news? All right. Some Uber riders in Florida. I love Florida stories. are accusing drivers of engaging in some truly stomach-churning fraud. See, I have to mark this off or I'll reread that, and I don't want to do that. According to the El Nuevo Herald, several customers claim unscrupulous drivers have falsely accused them of puking inside their Uber vehicles, making the riders responsible for bogus cleanup charges. Miami resident William Kennedy told, well, he's a Kennedy. He probably puked in there. William Kennedy told the publication he was victimized twice in one night. It was a total fraud by by two different drivers, Kennedy said. They have everything planned for the fraud. The scam, which has been dubbed vomit fraud, has been, which was just
That's it.
lot
Should be Vomit Gate.
I was going to say, where's Vomit Gate? Come on.
Yep, Vomit Gate. He was a Kennedy. Has been around for a few years. Reports of it have surfaced in different parts of the country, including New York and California. The shysters will reportedly pick up a customer, deliver them to their intended destination, then report to Uber the individual vomited in the vehicle. The drivers allegedly provide the company with fake pictures of the mess, whereupon the company hits the passenger with large cleanup bill.
Yeah, it's like $200 fee.
Yeah, they make that little
Really?
rubber. They make that fake little rubber vomit. That's perfect.
That's a
for
great
it.
idea, but I'm on the side of the drivers, honestly, because sometimes you get like everyone sucks sometimes, so you get like a terrible guy that's riding with you, like 1 star.
Oh yeah,
enough.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna no tip. You're getting the vomit.
Also, if it was the same dude twice in one night, that means he definitely sucks.
Right, and that also means he likely puked in at least one of those cars.
One of them.
Unless you're getting drunk, you're not going to keep Ubering around that much.
Yeah, and then the next guy was like, "My car now smells. This guy just smells like puke."
Right.
So he's like, "I'm just going to
he
charge
might as
him."
well charge him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for the air freshener.
Still got to get the
alone.
smell out.
Exactly.
It seems like something Travis Charles would do.
Puking a Uber driver or
being the guy to file the claim, but sure, he can puke in an Uber
That's
car.
right, he does Uber.
He does drive Uber, yeah.
I'm just going to start puking in people's cars with the Uber stickers.
Yeah, just randomly.
I don't even like calling Uber. I just
yeah, as long as I got their window down, it's fair game.
Yeah.
In the driver's seat. That's right. that way they don't remember if it's them or their passenger.
I was like, put it on their tab,
Yeah, they'll have to charge themselves for it.
I'm never going to get an Uber to pick me up. Ever.
No. Yeah. The race starter stood up and shouted, "Ready, steady, slow." The crowd cheered, but the competitors remained stuck to the starting line. Welcome to the World Snail Racing Championship. More than 150 snails took part in the annual event. I don't think they took part more than they were like set on a place and said, "There." They didn't really know what they were doing. It wasn't like, "I'm gonna beat you."
This wasn't like the Santa Olympics,
Right. More than 150 snails took part in the annual event held at a summer fete in Norfolk, Eastern England. Got to watch how you say that. On Saturday, where a silver tankard stuffed with lettuce leaves was the prize. Because, of course, the snails know that. So that's why they compete so hard, so they can get the lettuce leaves in the silver tankard.
You didn't see that far?
Yeah. The snails are placed on a special damp cloth marked with 3 concentric circles, and the creatures race 13 inches to the outer ring. We take this seriously, says snail racer John McLean. John McLean. That's
oh my God. That's like Bruce Willis's next movie.
Just you reading this is boring.
Yeah, snail racer. I'm kind of picturing the guy's like a jockey.
Die Hard. It'll be Die Hard 7 snail.
Yes. They've got training slopes. We look at diet. They're drug compliant as well.
No,
and the whole thing is just like elite sports.
All of this is
the competition. The competition has been held since the 1960s, with each race lasting several minutes. Competitors several minutes because it's on a little damp cloth.
Oh my God!
With circles on it.
I feel like going to that's like watching an NPR interview. It's so lame.
Yeah. Competitors are able to select a snail from the organizer's stash or bring their own. They can bring a ringer snail into the mix.
Who does
like a ride-in snail, you know?
Yeah.
Who does the commentary for this? Garrison Keillor?
Yeah.
I mean,
that would make sense.
Actually, $5 to anybody out there who knows who the hell Garrison Keillor is.
I know who Garrison Keillor is.
I know. He's a Leo.
He's a Leo,
yeah. Is it Prairie Home Companion, right?
There you go. Yeah. See, the man knows Garrison Keillor.
Yeah, baby.
He's actually kind of entertaining.
He's super entertaining.
He's very, very
I mean, he's boring.
Relaxed.
But like,
he's just the most sexless individual on the face of the earth.
Yeah. He's kind of like a snail.
He's kind of like a snail.
Well, that's why you said he would be.
Takes him forever to get anywhere.
Yeah, and he gets all the way to the end of a 15-minute story for a tiny little chuckle.
Yeah. I think I like Garrison Keillor because my dad's dead. And I'm like, oh, that was supposed to be funny. My bad, guys.
Wow!
I need to stop bringing that up.
That's where he was going with that.
So,
no, because
how has that affected you? Garrison Keillor.
I was like, you can't tell how it's affected me. Pretty good. I fall asleep to him sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows where I live. He just comes over and like.
Yeah, just like, randomly talk. Yeah.
Sometimes I accidentally call him Dad, and then he's like, "Stop it." I'm like, yeah, I brought it around.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to find some good stuff in here. There's man in Jacksonville. Even though Skylar McNeely's not on the program today, this is one for him. You remember? Have you seen his bit about the? Okay, a man in Jacksonville, Florida, brandishing a live gator, chased people in a convenience store where he was purchasing beer. Video of the strange episode shows the man, whose identity has not yet been confirmed, walked into the store holding a gator with his right hand. The animal's mouth appeared to be taped shut. The man asked while walking toward the front counter, "Y'all ain't out of beer, are you?" Because that's a direct quote, and that's how you have to say it. "Y'all ain't out of beer, are you?" Is he taking the last bit of beer? There was somebody at the back of the store. "Is he taking the last bit of beer? You ain't taking the last bit of beer, are you?" Moments later, the man with the gator jokingly ran at the other man as people in the store laugh. He then grabbed a 12-pack of beer. Florida wildlife officials are investigating the incident because he ran at them and everybody was laughing.
That's so funny.
You would have to investigate why everybody was laughing because the man had a gator.
That is amazing. I love that story.
It's probably pretty common down there, though.
I'd say it's not that unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Florida Wildlife Fish and Game or whatever was investigating. It's like, it's Bobby.
They never ask you why you have a gator. They simply ask why it's not on its leash.
Right. Why'd you tape its mouth shut?
I bet at one point this guy probably thought to himself, "Well, if they take my guns, I still got my gator."
Yeah. From my cold, dead
gator hands.
Yeah, forget the dog, beware the gator.
Yeah. That's funny. I've thought about getting a gun, but
I've thought about getting a gator.
Yeah. Well, this is actually kind of brings me to that because I don't ever want to pull my threaten anybody or ever use it or anything like that. But I just want to have it to see people's reaction. You know what I mean? You know how people are like, "Oh, that's," you go to the gas station, buy a pack of smokes or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, that's whatever," and you try and pull all your stuff out of your pocket to find you. I want to pull out my phone, my keys, my gun, just put it on the counter, and then just a bunch of other
it's
stuff.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's "Oh yeah, pardon me," and this is scrape it into my arms. I'll see you guys later. Thanks.
Yep, digging for change.
Just pull out my wallet, open it, and just a bunch of bullets fall out. Thought I had a quarter in here somewhere.
I was working for I won't say that. I was working for a retail store after college, and at one point this guy came up and said, "Hey,"
he was a Walmart greeter.
I wasn't a greeter, but he said, you guys have any more bleach? You guys don't seem to have enough bleach on the shelf." And I look over and I was like, "Okay, yeah, the shelf is empty." But I look at his cart and he's got 8 bottles of bleach in there.
Murderer.
And I said, "Well, sir," as I checked in the back, and I said, "We do have one more case of bleach, but I can't put the whole case out if you're just going to take it. We have to keep the shelf stocked. I can give you one of the bottles out of there, but I got to have at least 2 or 3 to put on the shelf." And he's like, "That's all right. I already got the most important part anyway." And he shows me in his cart where he's also just bought 3 boxes of bullets, and I'm like, "Murder. I need to leave this area before I become an accessory."
Yeah. Murder. Yep, sir. Have you stocked up on lime and shovels?
Right.
Yeah. So you're going to need to dispose of it somewhere.
Well, he headed off towards hardware, so I hopped I was a manager. I hopped on my earpiece. Was like, "There's a guy with a cart full of bullets and bleach. Can someone just keep an eye on him, please?"
Yep, I know something's going down. I don't want it to happen here. Not while I'm on the clock.
Right.
I'm off at 5. He can come back. An Indiana judge has ruled against the
worst sentence ever. Indiana judge has ruled it's not going to be good.
Exactly. Has ruled against the First Church of Cannabis, an Indianapolis church seeking to offer its members marijuana as a holy sacrament.
No way.
Judge Cheryl Lynch, which that sounds made up.
That sounds a fake name.
That's some Wall Street crap right there. They bought her. Judge Cheryl Lynch of the Marion Circuit Court decided Friday that the state of Indiana had a, quote, compelling interest in preventing marijuana possession.
Here's the thing.
Why would that be so compelling?
Hold on. I've been to that church. This is not a bit. I actually did a show at that church, and the guy that ran it was Jerry Goebel.
Yeah, I think we had Colin Brunn was in here. He'd been there, too.
Yeah. It was the worst show I've ever done. So I get why they closed it. But, no, it was... But the thing is, I said yes to the show because I was like, "Oh, yeah, cool. Church of Cannabis. That sounds real far out."
They didn't let you bring your own, did they?
No, well, I didn't bring any because I thought they would just have some. And they were like... And then when I got there, they're like, "Hey..."
Why would you think that? Have you ever been in a Christian church where God showed up?
Oh, man, that's a really good
Just because you worship it doesn't mean it's going to be there.
Well, hey, I don't worship it. I just I'm an enthusiast.
Well, no, the church, not you. I mean, I wouldn't cast any,
blunts or whatever.
Yeah, blunts.
No, but like if there was the church of loose women, you're gonna go to that church because you just want to. You think there's at least a chance,
right?
Yeah, and then he was like, "Hey,"
there's a bunch of dudes there. And not one woman, loose or otherwise.
It's a trap.
Yeah, actually,
maybe a couple of them.
All the dudes that were at the show were like just a bunch of old libertarian men that kept yelling about the government.
Of course.
So that's exciting.
I was like, this is a nightmare. But I did go down. They had the thing is because they didn't have any way to get money because people were like, I'm not going to go to church and not get stoned. Like that sounds stupid. Like if it's a church of weed. So what they do is in the basement they had all of these like old like 1970s, 80s, and 90s like action figures from from Mattel, Bandai.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, that part was pretty cool.
Huh. Oh, okay.
That's all I got. I'm just saying. I'm glad it's closed.
But anyway, according to Judge Lynch, allowing religious exemptions for marijuana use would have an overall negative impact on society. She also argued that an exemption would put Indiana police officers in a difficult position of having to evaluate the sincerity of the marijuana user's religious faith.
They do that for booze and children, though, at church.
They don't got to pay taxes. I mean,
well, they do that for kids. Like, if you go to, like, a Catholic church or an Anglican or any high church thing, you have real booze in those cups. Like, kids can drink them, so that's a bogus rule.
Yeah. Well, it's not illegal, though.
It's almost like
if you're a 10, it is.
If you're 10, yes, but that's the blood of Christ that you're drinking as a 10-year-old. This guy was wasted.
Beard. If wine's the blood of Christ, then weed's definitely like the beard of Christ, right?
And why shouldn't we be able to indulge
Rub his
in the beard
sweet
of Christ?
Yeah.
I know. It's almost like they don't want people to smoke weed. It's weird.
I don't
It's like they have some ulterior motive.
Yeah.
You could say it's a conspiracy.
Well, if you don't want to smoke weed, I have another story for you. Marijuana-infused beer is an idea that is long brewed among pot enthusiasts, and it may soon hop onto store shelves in Canada. I didn't write it.
I'll allow it.
Molson Coors Brewing Company is reportedly in talks with various cannabis companies in Canada. Say that 3 times fast.
Nice
cannabis companies
in Canada. Where recreational marijuana will be officially legal later this year. Road trip. Bloomberg reports that the company wants to invest. Man, who wrote this? Bloomberg reports who read this that the company wants to invest in the pot purveyors in hopes of creating cannabis-infused beverages that might stop the company's beer sales from declining further. Well, their beer sales are going to decline when weed's legal.
Yep.
You know what we got to do to make beer sales go up? Make sure no one cares about how this beer tastes.
Right. Well, yeah, it's Molson Coors. Nobody does. A source familiar with Molson Coors negotiations told Bloomberg the brewer is seeking, quote, high-quality product that isn't going to embarrass them. Have you tried Coors Light? And enough pot to make a potential cannabis-infused beverage viable on a large scale.
Beer water now with pot.
So on a large scale.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, man.
That's a pretty good idea. I mean, they have tinctures, which is just like liquid THC.
Yeah.
And you just drip it in like whatever you're drinking. But you guys know Mike Linsky, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys know in 2014 he won the Wiley's competition. Yeah. So he and I hung out like pretty much all day before that show. And he had a bunch of weed butter made up, and they had a cup of coffee, and he took probably a good, like, almost like half a butter stick worth of this weed butter.
Wow.
Dropped it in his coffee, and it melted, and then he just drank the whole thing. All we did was smoke weed all day, and then he had the best set I have ever seen in my entire life. And it was unbelievable. He won by, like, a landslide, too. It was not even close. It was amazing.
I'm starting to think this. I normally try to be sober when I go on stage, but my first ever headliner said I was hammered and it went over pretty well. So maybe there's something to
sometimes
inebriation when you're on stage.
A little bit. Yeah. If you don't get, the way I view it is
you have to make sure you still remember your material.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I don't know how I did. Somehow I did, but
sometimes I find with like, I try not to have smoke or drink before any show,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes it'll actually like kind of pull down the barriers just a little bit. Cause like, oh, maybe I will take it to that place. I may have been a little insecure to take it to beforehand. That's when it can be useful.
I'll usually have like a drink or two, but I try not to get like not be feeling it before I go up on stage, because part of me wants to bring down the defensiveness a little bit, I guess, to where I'm not as like afraid, like you said, to go to a certain place, but I also don't want to bring it down so much that I'm just,
don't care.
And just, I'm
right.
just wasting my time up there. So finding the happy medium is.
See, I have a feeling if I came in here that way, there'd be a lot of radio silence.
Oh yeah,
we'd just be staring at each other, going.
That's why I didn't smoke before this, because I'd be like, I wouldn't care about this.
Right?
Like, what's Super Dope? Like, who cares? It's gonna fail eventually.
It's just a thing.
It's just a thing I do.
All right, we'll do one more news story.
Okay.
Then we'll get ready to get out of here. A dog named Lucifer rescued his owner from a burning home in Kansas. Larry Moore was asleep on his living room chair when the fire broke out in his home in Hutchinson. The smoke detectors weren't working in the home, and Moore figured he would have kept sleeping if it sleeping. Maybe I'm not going to do another. Maybe I'm not going to do another news story. He figured. He figured he would have kept sleeping if it wasn't for Lucifer, his dog. I take it.
I've said that before.
Yep.
I'd be dead if it wasn't
for Lucifer. Man, if it wasn't for the devil.
I'm not even getting up today.
I'll praise the Dark Prince.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look down at my child and it's like, thank the devil.
Moore told KWCH-TV, he jumped up in my lap and woke me up, and I turned around and the house was on fire. My first thought would have been, what did you do? I don't think I would have made it, to be honest, because it happened so fast. Moore escaped the house with Lucifer and his other dog, Satan. No, but needed treatment for smoke inhalation when after going back inside to get personal items. According to the Hutchinson Fire Department, the electrical fire was caused by, quote, improper extension cords.
Shock.
Let that be a lesson to all of us. No, cords.
Unplug everything before you go to bed.
Exactly. Before you go to bed, just everything in the house, alarm clock, phone,
smoke
whatever
detector.
Smoke detector. Whatever
Don't
you
even
got.
take the risk.
Your oxygen tank, your sleep apnea machine.
Lucifer will burn your crap down. I remember when I was a kid, I was a teenager, my brother used to have a bunch of parties up at his house. Well, I didn't drink or do anything at the time like that, so I don't now either. But I happened to be up there, and he had pizza delivered earlier, so there's a pizza box sitting on the table, still had some pizza scraps left in it, and he had a cat. Well, he had a bunch of candles lit because he thought it was cool, having a little party, having a bunch of candles. They just had pizza. We're all out on his balcony, and I noticed that the light from the candles is flickering a bit more than usual. And I look in there, and his couch is on fire. Because the cat got up in the pizza box and knocked all the candles on the floor.
Of course.
So his couch is on fire. I go running in there. He's got this big blanket over top of it. So I pull the blanket off, which was the only thing burning. I'm stomping trying to get this blanket put out. And he comes in. That's the first thing he does. What the hell are you doing? It's like saving your house, idiot.
Starting a fire. Why?
Yep, I'm burning this mother down.
That is such a cat thing to do, though, to start a house fire.
Exactly. That's why had Lucifer been there, I was Lucifer that night, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I saved
you started off the show as Jesus. Now you're ending the show as Lucifer.
We've come full. That's the circle of life.
It is.
Mike.
Oh, man.
The Life radio show.
It's the circle of life radio show every Monday and Wednesday.
Yeah. Monday and Wednesday.
Or what's today?
Tuesday.
Are you sure you didn't smoke before you came in here?
No, that's my problem. I'm not focused.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. Mike, you want to throw out whatever you're promoting again, whatever it was, and we'll promote it more?
Tuesdays, check out my podcast, Mike Talks Funny, on Spreaker, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and now Spotify. Also, Wednesdays, check out Track Record with me and Robert Yetter. And whenever I feel like talking on the drive home, check out Mike's Drive Time Thoughts.
Woohoo! You got anything coming up?
Yes.
You got Super Dope?
Yes. So this Sunday, August 5th, that's this Sunday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'll be hosting at Wiley's Comedy Joint.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'll be going first. And then Tuesday, my birthday, I'll be 39 years old. Just kidding. I'll be 25. Super Dope is at my house. And then August 23rd, I will be in Columbus doing Beef Ghost, Amber Falter's show. It's going to be really cool.
Beef Ghost.
Yeah, so her family.
Sounds fun.
It is. Her family has owned this place. It's like Herman and Falter Meatpacking Company. And so it's this huge meatpacking facility in Columbus, like right next to the river. And so she's going to it's called Beef Ghost, so they're going to lead you through all these different weird passageways. And you're going to do a stand-up show in this weird cooler. It's going to be super, super fun.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that sounds wild.
Also, can I plug my friends real quick?
Absolutely. Plug anybody you want.
Yeah. A really good local band named The Zygotes. They have an album on Spotify. So if you have Spotify, go on and listen to it. Also, the band Man Ray is also really, really good. So if you like rock and roll or punk music, you're going to like both of those bands. And follow me on Instagram at Infinite Ginger. So that way you can get information about Super Dope and all the other shows.
All right.
Also,
thanks for coming.
real quick, sorry, local band Choke Hazard is opening for Saving Abel this weekend. Do what?
Nothing.
If you're a fan of punk rock and if you like Saving Abel, they're going to be in town, and Choke Hazard is opening up for them. So
They said saving anal.
Yep, much more.
For what?
For marriage.
Duh.
Anyway, on that note,
let's change the subject.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to leave on Saving Anal because why not? And we'll be back next week with something much more fun. This has been the Life Radio Show on WWSU 106.9 with your host, Don Smith. The Life is also available in podcast form on iTunes, PodBean, Stitcher, Spreaker, Blueberry, and YouTube, as well as on Eventide Entertainment's podcast network. Be sure to like the Life Radio Show on Facebook, and if you have any comments or suggestions, email thelife1069@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Now get out there and enjoy some live comedy this week. You can check out wileyscomedy.com for all your upcoming shows.
Presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms